I know, but going in there is not gonna help it. It's not helping the situation.
Chat. I just want everyone to know that is all normal. Also, I wasn't the only one in the house. No. I wasn't the only one in the house that got it. Many other.
Why are you admitting to it? Never admit to it. You're not supposed to admit to it. You're supposed to say he's bitter and lying. He's bitter and lying. You're not supposed to admit to it.
Try again. Cut it.
Tonight I am going to a new sex party out here in LA that requires everybody submit an STI test before you attend.
Wow, so straight away, bruv. Straight away, fam. Fam, she goes to parties where she gets to throw her box around with random strange men, bruv. Yeah. And from her first line talking about today I'm going to a party where everybody has to submit a STI checkup. Bro, that means that she usually goes to these kind of parties where they don't have to prove their bill of health. This is scary, bro.
One night stands made me feel emboldened. But in reality, I was using sex like a drug, trying unsuccessfully to fill a hole inside me with men. Pun intended. I told myself I didn't care. I didn't care when a man ghosted me. I didn't care when he left in the middle of the night or hinted that he wanted me to leave. The walks of shame, the blackouts, the anxiety. The lie I told myself for decades was, I'm not in pain, I'm empowered. I knew it would be hard to read this. Looking back, it isn't a surprise that I lied to myself, because from a young age, sex was something I was lied to about.
If you are sexually active, and you know that you have an STD, then you need to inform people of that. Because when you don't, and you infect that person, you are changing their life forever, and they are making a decision that they do not know. Like, this shit is going to change the rest of my life. And there's nothing I can do. And I'm embarrassed. And I'm humiliated, and I feel so stupid. I feel so stupid for letting someone take advantage of me in a moment of weakness. But I did not consent to this. And I'm going to get justice for myself. Because there have been so many times in my life where I haven't. And this is not fair. And I refuse to let anybody else feel like this if I can help it.
What is your confession?
No way. I definitely had a 5.
What?
And it was right after I got done with my white boyfriend. And it was all black guys.
This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
What are the chances me and my homies and you have a 4?
10 out of 10.
What are the chances we do that right now?
Right now.
Yeah.
In the middle of all this.
Nah, we got a B&B 5 minutes away.
Okay. Okay, ready?
Go ahead. Alright, we actually gotta go back to the crib. This one ready right now.
Have y'all seen this? There has been 128% spike in syphilis numbers with women. You know how you protect yourself? By not having sex. Don't do it.
Are you shitting my dick?
Man, I don't know what to take no more, man.
Okay,
I don't know what to
yes,
freaking
right.
take no more, man. Get out of me, man. Get out of me, man.
I'm so happy! I'm so sad!
I have pulled the hottest people since getting herpes and since being single with it. 90% of people who have herpes have no symptoms. The medical community does not regard it as a big deal because it is not.
2 fun facts about me: I have herpes and I'm hot. Herpes hasn't changed my life in any significant way. It's changed nothing about my career. I still date, I still enjoy myself, and I promise you that so will you.
Please let me know how kids who contract oral herpes growing up by parents and relatives kissing them have made poor decisions. Please let me know how someone who was lied to and cheated on or assaulted made poor decisions. The only person making poor decisions here is you, placing judgment on things that you clearly have no understanding of.
I think that the stigma has come from a lack of knowledge. What we hear from our patients are things like, I have herpes, does that mean I'm promiscuous? Does that mean I'm dirty? And the answer is no. None of those things are true about you. There's a myth that herpes is uncommon or rare. And that's not true. Over half of all people worldwide have a diagnosis of either herpes 1 or 2. There's also a myth out there that if you aren't sexually active, you can't catch herpes. And that's actually not true. Herpes 1 and 2 can cause cold sores, which is the same thing as just saying a herpes outbreak near the corner of your mouth. And those are contagious. But from a medical standpoint, I would consider herpes to be more of an inconvenience or a nuisance than a really big deal.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, or fuck around and find out. If you needed any more reason to go MGTOW, STDs like herpes, which is the gift that keeps on giving, is forever. You can survive a divorce, being cheated on, and a false accusation, but you can't get rid of AIDS and herpes. One of the reasons why STDs still exist is because people like the feminist doctor who downplays STDs by claiming it's not a big deal. There's a reason why in the old days the town slut was ostracized and not accepted in general society, because she was like a rat that spread diseases. STDs are around today because of prostitutes and sluts, as most people who had sex back in the day were married couples. What do the commenters say? A guy comments, LOL, fuck no. It's only modern women who need justification to be hoes who will buy this bullshit. Someone responds to him, there is no cure for herpes. You can reduce your flare-ups, but you'll always have herpes. That's why it's a big deal. Another comment. So people can give your kids herpes just by kissing them? Yup, that's why you keep the feminists away from your kids. They're STD petri dishes. Another comment. Many students who came to study in the USA returned to Europe with sexually transmitted diseases. That's hilarious. Add another reason why no one else from other countries come to America to marry American women besides the green card scammers.
I want to talk about the shame and stigma around STIs for a minute, because sometimes I feel like the shame and stigma is worse than the actual STI itself. If you are somebody who lives with HPV, herpes, HIV, or any of the other STIs for that matter, I just want to let you know that you are not alone. So many people live with STIs. They are so common. Very, very common. It's just that we were brought up not to talk about it. And people fear what they don't know, which is the root cause of the stigma, as well as religion and old patriarchal mindsets and the lack of sexual health education. That's where the root of the sexual shame and stigma lies. And I just want to let you know that if you do live with an STI, you're not alone.
The shame and stigma isn't enough because bitches are still doing fuckfests. It should be 10 times worse, like the old days, where they drop off people who had leprosy on islands to fend for themselves. Something like this should happen to these STD thoughts. And she literally writes, STI shame and stigma is worse than the actual STI. Why are these so-called strong and independent women are bothered by people's comments on the internet? They're the first ones to shame a man for his lack of height, yet apparently a troll ruins their whole day. Also, bad comments are temporary. Incurable STDs are for life. Thought commenter said, gotta stop the stigma and educate. Keep up the good work. I'm 16 years HSV+. It's always society who has to censor itself, making raging feminists feel better about the bad choices they've made with their life. Another chick commented, sucks when the person doesn't tell you they have it. Should have not screwed till marriage because during the courtship, an STD test or the lack of one would have given her the answer she needed to choose the right husband. The post wall in the video responded, yes, disclosing is important. We, people who live with herpes, all wish that we were given the choice. See how she twists logic around to fit her agenda as if she has no accountability in the matter? people do have a choice to get STDs or not. It's called keeping their legs closed, and that's the safest way of not getting it.
It's a mistake you learned the hard way that you can now help people to avoid.
I learned the hard way that cold sores are herpes, not just any type of herpes, but the same type of herpes that you can get below the belt. I was in a long-term monogamous relationship for around 2 years, from 17 to 19 years old, and he was a virgin when I met him because we were so young. We were both really smart kids. We were in AP classes, we did all our homework, we listened in school, but nowhere along the public school system did anyone teach us that cold sores were herpes, or that cold sores were the same type of herpes that you can get below the belt genitally. He got cold sores from his mom because, you know, you kiss your mom in the mouth at any point, she has cold sores, you can get cold sores. We did what, you know, two consenting people do, where we had sex orally, and I ended up getting genital herpes. Genital herpes is a devastating diagnosis to get at 19 years old, especially from someone that you've been with so long and you didn't think it was possible to get. So now I dedicate my free time in educating the public on how to cope with having herpes and how to avoid getting it.
If she's telling the truth, sadly, she found out the hard way why modern women should not have kids. Her boyfriend's mom ruined his and her life forever. Why didn't she and her boyfriend sue his mom for giving them the STD? That's an easily winnable case for negligence. You know for sure these thoughts with STDs will want to have kids someday. They're entitled, they don't want to be accountable for their own actions. Let's see the comments. I got Lyme disease from a tick and now I have herpes too. Did she just blame getting herpes from a tick? Or is she collecting diseases? Is she literally trying to say the same tick sucked the blood out of someone who had herpes then bit her? A 1 in a billion type scenario. She probably has a better chance of getting rabies from a tick than a human STD. Another comment. Are the cold sores contagious when you don't actively have one? Like sharing drinks with a friend when it's not active? A response to that question? Yes, technically you can still pass it because your skin sheds, but it's a very low chance. Not sure this is true, just stay away from the STD collectors, also known as the feminists. A post wall commented, I think someone has it by now. Someone responded, you too, not me. This is what a lot of modern women claim to make themselves less gross or try to normalize their degeneracy. I'm not getting outbreaks, my friends aren't, just hoes, prostitutes, and chads.
Get ready with me while I process thoughts from a recent situationship that ended due to me having herpes for the first time. Okay, let's wipe these away because we're gonna do our makeup.
Herpes simplex virus that causes cold sores is highly contagious and it can be spread through your saliva. This is your sign not to share your lipsticks, lip balms or lip glosses with your friends.
Today, my whole life could change and I'm scared. Friday night, I started having a burning sensation whenever I peed. Was not pleasant. So Saturday, I went to urgent care and they put me on medication for a UTI. So I started the UTI medication on Sunday, and then that night I noticed that my right lymph node in my groin was swollen. By Monday, the UTI meds still haven't kicked in. It still really hurt whenever I peed. So I called to make an appointment with my gyno. And it's now Wednesday. My appointment's in like half an hour. This subject is very stigmatized, has a lot of shame around it. But then I noticed warts on my genitals. Very, very painful. These last few days, I've just felt run down, icky, haven't had an appetite, uncomfortable. It hurts to walk. It hurts to sit. Everything hurts. I'm scared. I'm scared. If it's herpes, I know it's not the end of the world. I'm about to go to my appointment now, so I will come back with an update.
I have herpes.
If I want to have unprotected sex, I have to tell them. I don't know how this is going to affect my dating life. I can't give birth vaginally if I have an outbreak. I don't know. I don't fucking know how I'm supposed to tell my parents this. It's also just fucking painful. And I'm gonna have these outbreaks for the rest of my life. I feel like my parents are gonna be so disappointed in me. I don't know.
Fuck around and find out, literally. Nuns aren't getting herpes. Virgin women saving it for marriage aren't getting STDs. Just thoughts screwing a whole football team that's getting them. It's videos like these that hopefully wake up young women. Her life is ruined because no man of value will be in a relationship with her, let alone have sex with her. She kinda looks like a good girl who's in college, so her parents probably have saved money since she was born, along with the 401k to pay the 6-figure college tuition cost, only to have all of her holes filled at a frat party. This is why parents should not send their daughters off to college. It's slut university. They spend less time actually studying and more getting banged out. This is why you gotta be cautious sleeping with attractive thoughts, because it's not them that may not be sleeping around, but it's the chads they're hooking up with who are. So one thought could sleep with 3 chads, but if each of those chads have slept with 100 other people, that's 300 people she's exposed to. What do the commenters think? With 24,000 likes, a chick comments, "Herpes is very stigmatized, but do not be ashamed," or anything of the sort. "You are amazing for sharing." There's a reason why it is stigmatized. Because it sucks. Not being able to sit down for someone who does nothing sucks. Try not doing it after a long day of blue-collar work. It also says the female who got them slept around a lot, as in she's a whore. Another chick commented, "Girl, I work at an obgyn office. HSV is so common. Legit so common. Not talked about as much as it should be. You got this. Heart." So it must be more common than people think with thoughts. If the abortion clinics are full, then the doc's office screening for STDs are probably also full. Another comment, "Girl, when I told my mom, she was like, 'Me too, girl.'" A thought responded to that comment, "Your mom is the bomb. Heart." No, her mom is a whore too. Whores multiply like rabbits. If the mom isn't quote-unquote judging them, then they're more likely to do anything they want. Hence why the commenter got an STD.
That one time we had someone come in and she thought that she had skin tags down there. So she came in, she's having a procedure done, put her legs up in the stirrups, and that's when we saw it. And by it, I mean them. Lots of them. So she thought they were skin tags. And I give it to her. They do tend to look like skin tags. But they were warts. Medical terms, they were condyloma. Now, by the time she was there, I had easily counted over 30 of them. They were all over her cookie, all over the inner thighs, down to her peach. Like they were everywhere. This poor thing thought that she had skin tags when really she had condyloma. She was telling her partners that they were skin tags. Now, mind you, this is an STD. Now, she had HPV, and that is what causes condyloma if you have that strain. But unfortunately, we are just not educated as a whole in exactly how these STDs happen. We're just not taught this in school. We're basically taught if you are intimate and you're not smart about it, you're going to get a STD, boom, flat period, that's it. Or pregnant. So she could have been spreading this STD and probably was, but nobody knew. The men probably didn't know. She didn't know. She was just passing them off as skin tags. This was not her fault to an extent because she just was not educated.
And she was a transfer patient to us, so this was one of the first times we were seeing her. So I don't know what the previous office told her about having HPV and the strains that she had and what they can possibly cause. But she unfortunately left with a whole new bag full of stuff that she probably didn't want to hear and I'm sure was absolutely shocked over. Have fun, but be smart, and if something doesn't look right, question it.
Did she really think it was skin tags, or did she make an excuse for spreading a non-curable contagious STD? Men, if you see bumps on her private parts, just leave. Maybe she turned off the lights and picked desperate men, because these women have no morals. They're going to ride the whore bus till the wheels fall off and it all runs off a cliff. Any guy that has been with her, if he went down on her, he would probably get genital herpes on his mouth. Like this degenerate. This TikTok was shot in Phoenix, so if you're a man who lives there, watch out. An ignorant woman asks, "Can it be cured?" And someone responded, "There's no cure for HPV though. If your body doesn't fight it off, you could end up with cancer." So these thoughts might disappear after all. Some simp or slut wrote, "It's likely that we all have HPV. It just presents differently in everyone. I work in colorectal and we see it every day." No. Cope harder. A thought responded to that. 70% of the population has it. Most people will get it at some point in their lives, but the body will clear it. Worse, no test for men, just for women. No. Maybe 70% of chads and the sluts, but not the average guy who gets 3 partners in their lifetime. Another thought commented, "Yes, thank you. I got HPV with warts when I was a junior in high school, 17 years old, and we learned nothing about it in sex ed. Thankfully, I'll be 30 in a couple." Yeah, sex ed does teach about it. She was just too busy practicing putting the condom on the cucumber to notice when they said that unprotected sex can lead to STDs. The best birth control and way to prevent from getting STDs is to stay a virgin till marriage.
So I have a lot to say about STI dating apps. They are trash. Do not use them. First off, the idea that they are pushing is that you should be dating people who also have an STI. That's furthering the stigma. Like, that's wild. While they're like claim to be like positive and whatnot, no. Like, positive singles, you are trash. Second of all, I am banned from positive singles, which is chaos. I put in my profile that I do work to destigmatize herpes. After like updating that in my profile, I think within like an hour or two, I was banned. So they want people to feel bad about themselves because then people will keep subscribing and giving them money and signing up for their apps. And also the app is like sus. Like, it's scary. Like, the people on, like, oh, I just like checked it out once and like, I'm sure there's great people on there, but like in my experience, it was sus. And like, there's also an option, because obviously like it's mostly for people who have herpes or HIV, but there was like an option to put like if you have like gonorrhea or like syphilis, chlamydia, and it's like that's curable. So like, why are you saying you have that? Like, if you know you have it, go to the doctor, get your antibiotics, and then you don't have it. Like, it's just weird. And then like since I run like an Instagram about herpes and TikTok, whatever, their like salespeople will message me all the time with like a ton of spelling errors and like ask me to like market them and like if I want to be an ambassador, and I never respond, but I want to be like, you guys banned me like 2 years ago. It's just ridiculous. And yeah, I just feel like things like positive singles just furthers the idea that like we are like this, like we're othered, we shouldn't be dating STI negative people, and like that's just not true. Like, you can date whoever you want. If you want to just use it as like not in like terms of like herpes, just in terms of like, hey, this is another way to meet people, that's totally fine. But personally, like, I do not support that app.
How degenerate and scummy does she have to be banned from an app that collects infected people? The bar is already very low. She must have had more than one STD and infected people with more than what they had. She claimed it was just because she put in her dating profile that she works to reduce the seriousness of the situation. This is how more people are going to get it, because by reducing the quote-unquote stigma, people aren't going to think getting STDs are a serious situation when it is. And of course, she's complaining about bad choices she made. The regular dating apps should ban people who have STDs, but they're part of the feminist cult. They're not gonna hold the women accountable. Her TikTok user handle has slut in the name. Of course, a chick said this comment. My therapist once called PA Singles a fetish app, prioritizing a trade in a potential partner that has no bearing on how good of a partner they'd be. No, people aren't going on the STD app just because they like STDs or want to catch one. They go there out of necessity and to be responsible, to find other people who have the same non-curable disease so they don't have to worry about spreading it. Another chick wrote, exactly, like, I do get low-key offended when people ask why I don't just date people with herpes. These feminists are complaining that herpes is stigmatized, yet they won't even date people who have the same STD. Unbelievable. You'd have to be a fool to not ask for an STD test at this point when dealing with modern women.
So I'm just sitting in my car until I have to go into work. But on the way to work, I found myself crying over a dude again. Ugh, cringe. But I'm crying over this dude that I was recently talking to, and things were going really good until I disclosed to him that I had herpes. And then things just kind of changed. At first he was really understanding, and then a few days passed, and then he was just like, basically he didn't want to see me romantically anymore because of it, because he was uneducated and doesn't know much about STDs, which is fine, but I deserve somebody that's willing to educate themselves, you know, willing to see me as the person that I am. I'm so much more than a person that has herpes. I'm a beautiful individual with so much going for me, and it's just frustrating to feel rejected because of this.
Nah, he's educated for sure. Better be safe than sorry. 30 seconds of intimacy can ruin the rest of his life. More men need to think like this. These modern women are walking landmines, whether it's STDs in her case, or child support, alimony, false accusations. The average man can get seriously fucked up by these feminists. She thinks she still deserves a great guy. As the Joker said,
Police, get what you fucking deserve!
Her main profile pic on her TikTok is her in a bikini. Talk about a thirst trap. Not a poem she wrote, or cake she baked, or basket she weaved. Just her in a bikini. She talks about being rejected because of this issue, but how many times has she rejected a guy for being too short, or not wealthy enough, or not big enough? The crowd that cries, stopping judging, are the ones who judge every little infraction a guy does. Don't ever feel sorry for a modern woman. They constantly lie to men to get wined and dined for free, only to get banged out by Chad or Tyrone at the end of the night. A thought commented, sorry for the delayed comment, but I just got diagnosed with HSV2 last week and I am struggling with it. Thank you for normalizing this. Heart. Nah, she normalized it to bitches who sleep around. Another thought stated, I've had HSV2 for over 10 years. I've been rejected a lot, but remember, rejection is protection. Yes, us men who reject STD thoughts are protected by absences. We are more than our diagnoses. Not to MGTOW or passport bros. There's plenty of women overseas who don't partake in sport fucking.
For any woman who fears not being accepted with herpes and feels like it's gonna fuck up her dating life, do you know what a really easy hack is? Put it on a dating app. Even if you don't want to meet men on a dating app, like I literally do this shit to entertain you guys, put it on a dating app just to create the neural pathway that acceptance is possible. And number two, loads of people have herpes because you think right now that you're the only woman with it. And look, here, Hinge asked me what my green flags in relationship are. Emotional intelligence, authentic communication, a strong desire to please both yourself and your woman. Me being the woman, my pleasure, important, you gotta care about it. And look at my nice easy disclosure at the end. By the way, I'm HSV2 positive. Now, Connor, he agrees, he's here for my pleasure. And look, he's got it too. I mean, I'm not going to match with him. I don't think that's a good reason to match. But if I thought that I was the only person with that, look, evidence, I'm not the only one. Bang.
Unbelievable. She literally stated she wanted a guy there for her pleasure and to have the same STD. A guy met those requirements, she rejected him. That's why you don't placate to women's demands, because then they'll see you as a guarantee and think they can do better. Or modern women will see you as a beta male and move on to the ex-felon who'll choke them in the bedroom. Big credit for her to putting it on her profile, even though it's all the way at the bottom and not at the top, as if anyone reads profiles. She looks like a post-wall thought who's still in shape, but is slowly aging away. The only comment on the profile asks, "Are you still married?" Apparently not. If she was married, sounds like she cheated and got the STD, hence why she's single now. Like I said, she still looks better than average, but there's plenty of aged out thoughts who look just as good at her but aren't infected with anything.
Get ready with me while I process thoughts from a recent situationship that ended due to me having herpes for the first time. Okay, let's wipe these away because we're gonna do our makeup. I've only had one significant rejection, and that was after a first date, and I don't count like random matches on apps that fizzle out. This is definitely a connection that I didn't expect because I wasn't looking for anything deeper or more relationship-like, but that's kind of what it became. Like talking every day or texting every day for like 2 months, which I'm not used to anymore. What was hard is that they weren't worried for the majority of the connection, but later started to get worried because of like a little scare that they had due to their anxiety, and then going down a wormhole and learning more about it than they knew. So for example, asymptomatic shedding was something that they learned about through this spiral, and it freaked them out. They were worried about pretty impossible things or things that were very, very low risk. And then I started to learn that, you know, there was a lot of anxiety there, which I can relate to. We talked about it so much, and I sent them so much information about it. And, you know, they ended up acknowledging that, like, as much as they know that I'm no greater risk than the next person, it was the knowledge of it that they couldn't get past. And to me, that's just like they have too much stigma around it. One example is like when you have HSV2, the risk of transmitting your herpes to someone orally is extremely low because that type just doesn't like the mouth. And then likewise, if you have genital herpes, you're not going to give it to anyone from your mouth because you don't have it orally. But those are the kinds of things that they were worrying about. So like those are things that like I can't challenge because it's not rational. And I don't mean that as a dig. I just mean that's how anxiety can work. I think what's really hard about that stuff is then you worry so much more about ever potentially transmitting to that person when that's already something you worry about. And then what's generally really painful and was really painful for me about this was having someone who is like all about you and loves everything about you and can't get past that one thing. So it makes you feel like if you can't get past that thing, then I can't be that special to you. But anxiety doesn't care, and neither does stigma. So if it's that big of a deal for somebody, it's not going to matter. And what also got really hard was trying to maintain some kind of connection around that. So like initially just being like, let's just try to be friends. But then that's like really hard when you have a connection. And I think one of the hardest things is the temptation to like maintain that connection with conditions. And that's something that I always speak out against, because that will really kill your confidence, as if the feeling around your herpes isn't already. And the temptation is strong to like betray yourself and your values and just accept the conditions. Go to part 2.
Let's ask this question. If the shoe was on the other foot, as in the guy had herpes and she didn't, would she be so understanding and would not treat it like a stigma? These thoughts make virtue out of necessity. And are we really to believe she told him right away and they talked for a couple of months every day till he went down a rabbit hole? Or did she waste his time to try to trick him into a relationship? Top commenter said, I get that, but it's also his right 100% to choose to not engage. Burn. Chicks don't give a shit about another bitch if they don't have the same problem. The woman in the video responded, also, if you're not going to engage with people with herpes, LOL, better make sure you don't have it first, sweetie. And the chick came back to burn her again. I get my pap yearly, sweetie. I'm sorry you have herpes, but don't cry over someone not wanting to be a part of it. A verified TikTok thought with 2 million followers commented, one of my GFs has HSV too. She has had lots of partners since getting it, but takes meds every day and has never given it to anyone. You really think her thoughtfluencer friend is telling her partners about it? It's selfish whores of Babylon like this which keeps STDs around. They don't want to live with the consequences of their actions and not screw, so it's their pleasure over someone else's life. The rest of the commenters either admit to getting herpes or is blowing smoke up their STD woman's ass. The bottom line is this is what the modern STD woman is going to do. She's gonna try to STD trap a man, so he's forced to be with her, especially in her late years. This is why all of them would prefer someone without an STD, because it's not a fling they're after, but something close to marriages. As if you need more reason to go MGTOW or passport bro. If a hot thought suddenly takes interest in you, ask for a current STD test up front because
it's a trap!
She's conflating warts on her cunt with men not getting tested. Pretty sure men would know they have genital herpes if all of a sudden their dick was on fire. Men in the comments section was having none of it. Top commenter says, nah, I won't even eat a bruised fruit. That's funny. Why settle for the rotten fruit when there's billions of fresh fruit off of the vine? Another dude commented, still, you got it. And a thought responded, you realize people can get it at birth, right? People always bring up the most improbable scenario to defend their behavior as if the majority of them aren't screwing busloads of men, but innocently got it from their mother. The only thing they got from their single mother was the hoe gene. Another man states, that's their preference, no need to judge them. Someone responded to the comment, I'd gladly reject someone with that and happily be judge on it. Men, don't lower your standards, morals, or self-preservation just because some STD thought got her feelings hurt when you outright tell her no. If you think getting laid is hard now, wait till you get an incurable STD. Then you'll have no choice but to deal with hoes.
Also too, I feel like, this is on a different subject, but I feel like since she brought it up, let's talk about it. I feel like the conversation around herpes needs to be normalized more because I feel like a lot of people out there are suffering trying to enter into new relationships because it feels like a really challenging thing to approach and talk about. Now, I was raped when I was 20 years old and he gave me herpes when it happened and it wrecked about the next 7 years of my life. It made it really impossible for me. I think I just really struggled with like my value and who I was and what I felt like I had a defect. I felt like something was wrong with me. And it took me a very long time to discover that there really was nothing wrong with me. And it was completely out of my control. And now, being well into my 30s, I'm like, if you don't accept me for who I am, like I could give a fuck. But let's just be clear, 1 out of 6 people have her.
Was she really violated, or is this what she tells everyone so she feels less shameful about it? Modern women today now will claim that they were violated if they regret having sex or if they thought the man was untruthful. Women will put on an Oscar award-winning performance if they think it'll benefit their chance of getting a commitment or any other relationship benefits. That being said, she was very casual about what should have been the darkest part of her life. And just remember, if 2 people are equally drunk, same blood alcohol level, both have lust for each other, the man will always be blamed for taking advantage of her even if his blood levels were twice as high and she had to help him stumble into her apartment. She also in the video did what most women do now, call rejection or calling a spade, bullying. One of the top comments says, I don't understand why anyone's medical health that isn't in a relationship with you is their business. Stay strong. Medical health is usually private, but women like the one in the video share that she has an STD to the internet for clout, then complains when other people bring it up. That's the price to pay with fame. People always think about fame for its benefits, but fail to realize that the downside is that they're going to be under a microscope and people are going to voice their opinions about them. Someone commented, at the same time, My daughter of 5 and 3 both caught herpes at preschool, so which means they touched a surface that was touched by someone who has herpes. That's BS because according to a simple Google search, I quote, "You will not get herpes from toilet seats, bedding, or swimming pools. You also will not get it from touching objects such as silverware, soap, or towels." This female might have ruined both of her daughters' lives because she hoed around. Another STD thought commented, "My aunt gave me cold sores when I was 6 years old. She was careless and kissed me while she had an active cold sore. I've only had 2 in my life, but..." And she continued, "When I got the second one at 28, I felt worthless and dirty. Disgusting. Even though it wasn't my fault, I hid from people for 2 weeks till it was gone." No telling how many people she exposed her original herpes to, especially since she claimed she hid from everyone when she got the second one till the cold sore was gone. Wouldn't she want people to know so they don't accidentally get it like she claimed she did the first time?
I'm just about to get right into it. I always say that you don't feel like this for you, then hey, go to God about it. But I know that this is a word that God has given me that I have sat on for about 3 days. So, the other day I was on my knees and I literally just heard STD. It was so weird. Like, I literally just heard STD. And I'm like, God, you talking about me having STD for real? And he was like, STD. He just kept saying STD. So I'm like, what the heck? Like, okay, guys. So you're going to have to really get into detail with me because now I'm having fear. He said, aha, you do got STD. I said, how I got STD? And so he said, you got a spiritual transmitted disease. Fear is an STD. Fear is a disease. Fear is a disease. Anxiety is a disease. Lust is a disease. Masturbation is a disease. Lack is a disease. Laziness is a disease. All of these things are diseases. And I'm like, okay, God, but you only could get an STD if you let somebody enter you. He said, yes, yes, yes. You getting me now, Jasmine. You've allowed a lot of people into your life. You've allowed a lot of people that were contaminated and gave you the contamination of what they had. So now you're trying to wonder why I felt that. Now you're trying to wonder why you can't pray as much. You can't even get on a fast for 24 hours. You're trying to wonder why you can't even get in your word. Who have you been surrounding yourself with? Or what have you been connected to that is allowing you to keep you away from me?
Maybe God gave her an STD to tell her to stop fucking the whole block. And speaking about being on her knees, when God told her STD, it's because she was on her knees doing you know what. Spoiler alert, if you sleep around, you're not a Christian. Christians are supposed to stay a virgin till marriage, and this is one of the good reasons why, to not get STDs. Is she trying to say pray an STD away like pray the gay away? Bitch gets an STD and all of a sudden, she should preach the gospel. When men say they want a godly woman, they mean they want a quiet, reserved lady who wears a scarf on their head, not some loudmouth wannabe preacher. And of course, thoughts are all in the comments claiming to be touched by God by this chick's sermon. Girl, you scared me, but preach on. My God, I heard spiritual tied demons, STD, this morning. Is that what these Bible hoes are calling STDs now? I swear I just prayed and asked God to hide me. Something isn't right and I don't want to be around nothing that will distract me from God. This is the same type of thought who will go to the club to shake her ass but mentions God in every other sentence. This was definitely for me. I've been plagued. The so-called Christian caught an STD? My God. These modern women will hide behind anything to justify or cover up their dirty deeds.
HIV-related response. Why don't you date someone with HIV? Well, I don't need to. Because we do have such a thing called U equals U, which means I or anyone else who is positive cannot physically pass the virus on to anyone if they are taking their medication as instructed, which I do because I have a strong sense of preserving my life for me. And yes, so anyone else who is positive and on medication cannot pass the virus on. The people who should be worried are the ones who do not know their status, don't use condoms, and don't get tested regularly.
The women who are on crusade to end the STD stigma are the same ones who refuse to date other people with their incurable STD. You can't make this shit up, as Kevin Samuels used to say. By the way, who wants to take one for the team and be the guinea pig to see if Big Pharma isn't lying about their drug that supposedly stops one of the worst STDs out there? This is the one STD that can kill you. Yes, there are new drugs that allow people to live with HIV, but what if they run out of money or they can't get access to the drugs anymore? At least with herpes, you'll get painful cold sores, but with AIDS, without meds, you'll die a slow, painful death. What do the comments say? Top commenter asks, what about the ones who are HIV and are spreading it? That scares me, that part terrifies me. Someone responds, then I suggest you approach them and tell them they will be arrested and jailed for life if they do that. Not in California. The most gynocentric state in the United States have lowered the penalty of knowingly spreading AIDS from a felony to a misdemeanor. Someone with common sense says what we're all thinking. If anybody believes that, they are insane. Why would anyone compromise their health? Exactly. That's like playing Russian roulette because someone advocated you won't get shot because only one of the chambers has a bullet in it. A thought responded, "You're not really smart, are you?" She is smart. Better to be safe than sorry. There. You've thought you've heard it all till a modern woman opens her mouth. The moral of the story is, women should keep their legs closed and stay a virgin till marriage because no amount of sex education can stop getting an STD. And men, add this to your list of why it's better off to go MGTOW.
Oh honey, there was no denying that I got it. I'm stubborn as a motherfucker. Did not go to the doctor for about 2 weeks. Me and one of my girlfriends were looking on Google Images and I was like, no, that's not what it looks like. It's not herpes, it's a yeast infection. We go to CVS. I think I went to CVS 2 or 3 times and got a yeast infection kit, the monostat, because I was like, no, it's not herpes at all. But it was. I got to the point where I couldn't walk, had to pee in the shower. And I was like, okay, I need to go to Planned Parenthood, laid down on the table, spread them. And the doctor was like, yeah, that's herpes, immediately. And I just started bawling and was like, oh my God, am I gonna die? That's what I said. And she was like, no, you're not gonna die. So many people have it. And that's how I knew.
You probably think women who look like her would have an STD, but you'd be right more than wrong. However, it's the women who look like the good girls who are more likely to get one because they can fool a lot of men, thus sleeping around. Amy Horton is one of those who looks closer to a good girl or a plain Jane than a wild chick who clearly has daddy issues. For those who don't know about Amy Horton, she's a post-wall feminist writer who wrote salacious articles about her hookup lifestyle, with articles like, I am woman, hear me roar. Why I'd rather travel alone. This is why I love having best guy friends. I moved and my dating life changed drastically for the better. She would live her life as if she is the star of a Sex and the City reality TV show. Ironically, she's a Hollywood reject because tried acting but never got anywhere.
I'm not going back.
Come on, Kate. You got lucky, right? Could have been a lot worse.
Hendrix is dead. How is that luck?
He's in critical condition.
You saw what he looked like.
Look, there's always hope, okay?
You think it wouldn't have been as bad if they had been up to code?
What are you talking about?
The bribes from the club. You think that we'd be sitting here with a club that burned down overnight if it had been up to code?
Jesus, just let it go, okay? You don't know that for certain.
What I know is you're on top of the take, Rich. You don't ride around in a Bentley on a fire chief's salary. Guys think they want the beef, they want the filet, they want a nice cut, and they want it lean. And then all of a sudden they're like, fuck it, let's go with chicken. And the beef's like, whoa, what about me? What about my peppercorn cream? I thought we had a good thing going.
This really isn't about table service, is it?
Yeah? Yesterday, Greg left me for a teenager.
That can't be legal.
Neither is torching his car, but I did that too. I'm speaking figuratively. Who told you I'm pregnant? Dr. Lee?
Call it a woman's intuition. What's wrong? Aren't you excited?
I'm supposed to be, right? That's what everyone seems to think.
And you are?
I'm not married. I work 75 hours a week minimum, and I'm passionate about helping other women achieve their best birth. Keyword, other.
You don't want it for yourself?
I don't know what I want. I do know for sure that I'm going to find out the gender, because I don't want any more surprises.
Finally, reality has caught up to her and she caught an incurable STD, genital warts, which can spread through skin contact. So, she decides to write an article about it to help quote-unquote empower women who are in the same situation. Also, she wants the attention, no matter if it's good or bad. Any attention is good attention to modern women. The truth behind my HPV diagnosis and how it turned my life into unnecessary chaos. No surprise her life is chaotic after catching an incurable STD. They don't warn people for nothing. A promiscuous woman's life is like a house of cards, built on lies, scams, and projection. So when something like this happens, it comes tumbling down. I stared at the doctor unblinkingly. It was a mistake. I had to have heard her wrong. Even as the thought flitted through my mind, I knew I hadn't. How many other unsuspecting men did she sleep with once she got the warts? Because it sounds like she was in denial even after the doc told her she had it. It didn't look like a textbook case of genital warts. I'd only noticed a few small, persistent bumps that refused to go away. Even when my pap smear came back abnormal and the clinic informed me that I may very well have contracted HPV, it didn't occur to me that I had the strain that also caused those bumps. I felt dirty and ashamed. Sounds like genital warts, and she was dirty long before she got the STD, as she probably has had a lot of unprotected sex with many men. Maybe a crime scene can be solved with a DNA swap of her snatch. It's sad that it took an STD, but not getting pumped and dumped for almost 3 decades for her to feel ashamed. A woman who can't get into a long, meaningful relationship is the equivalent of an incel or 40-year-old virgin. Both are the same, but on the opposite sides of that spectrum. But an incel or a virgin can improve their lives and change the situation. A single cat lady can't reverse time or become a virgin again. Though the outbreak didn't look like anything much, I felt the specific heaviness that goes along with the STI stigma that is socially widespread in the United States. How could I tell anyone? Feminists now call STDs STI, which means sexually transmitted infections, instead of sexually transmitted diseases to try to make an STD sound less dangerous. It's called a disease for a reason, and the so-called stigma is there to properly scare people. I'd not slept with that many partners. My relationships were most often long and monogamous. That's a lie. Maybe she means at that time, because women always omit key details like period of time to cover up their dirty deeds. If she truly had long relationships, it would be less than a handful, not decades of escapades that she documented on the internet. The internet is forever. One search of her name will show her the articles she proudly wrote on archive websites. I did not think of myself as a likely candidate to have any type of sexual issue. Because of all this, my knowledge of HPV and other STIs was little to none. Being ignorant of something puts her at a higher risk of catching an STD. Also, it's common sense. The more people a person sleeps with, the higher of a chance they'll get pregnant or catch an STD. She's either lying or a real sociopath, meaning she truly believes she's an innocent person despite living the life to the contrary. Like, there are serial killers who can easily pass a polygraph test because they don't realize they're telling lies. Thus, their body language doesn't change. As I learned more about it, I was surprised. Before my diagnosis, I'd had no idea that HPV was so common and widespread. It can stay dormant in the body for years and never present any symptoms. I could have contracted it from any one of my partners. If I hadn't displayed the outbreak of bumps or had an abnormal pap smear, I might have never known I had it at all. When I hatingly revealed my news to a brashly honest friend of mine, her response was, "The CDC claims 1 out of 5 people in America have STDs, and since a majority of modern women try to sleep with the Chads and Tyrones, the circle of people is much smaller." The stat should actually say 1 out of 5 people who's ever had sex with more than one person has an STD, because at least 50% of men in America or virgin women aren't the ones sleeping around. Oh, no big deal. I had those when I was 19. they go away. Everyone gets HPV. So Amy's doc was also a hoe, meaning by the numbers, she must have lost her virginity at the age of 15. And no, not everyone gets HPV. Only Chads, Tyrones, and modern women. I was shocked by her cavalier attitude, but it also made me feel slightly relieved. Maybe it really wasn't a big deal. Still, despite everything I'd read about its widespread prevalence, despite learning that my immune system would clear the virus from my body eventually, I had no idea how to break the news to a romantic partner without feeling disgusting. Modern women can't take accountability if their life depended on it. Whether she tells her partner or not, she is disgusting. The warts are an externalization of her degenerate lifestyle. The chickens are coming home to roost with these outbreaks on her fishy cunt. I'd just begun dating someone new, fairly soon after a tumultuous breakup. We hadn't slept together yet, but I was wrestling some complicated feelings regarding my previous boyfriend. My new problem made everything else feel overwhelmingly unmanageable. I decided that I had to talk to my ex about what I'd learned. I would wait and figure out what to tell this new guy later. It wasn't a pressing issue, so I pushed that particular stress away for the moment. Who would have thought her ex would leave? Apparently, he tested negative or she would have blamed him for the STD. So it's likely either she cheated or he was super lucky he didn't catch it from her. She should go to jail because she is continuing to risk exposing other men to warts if they have skin contact with her. So when Amy claimed she and the new guy, we haven't slept together yet, that doesn't mean they didn't kiss or cuddle or do other intimate acts. My self-esteem was already floundering and the feeling that I was somehow tainted only made it worse. I called my ex to discuss what I'd learned. I figured that it was the right thing to do, as he was the last person I'd slept with prior to the knowledge. My heart in my throat, I blurted everything out awkwardly. I didn't know how to approach it any better. There was silence, and my stomach churned. Then he responded. Sorry to break the news, she is tainted. Are you okay? That was my undoing. That moment of kindness, that concern for me instead of an angry reaction, was the catalyst for the drama of several months thereafter. I didn't tell the man I'd begun dating. I couldn't. I felt horrible about myself as it was. Instead, I made excuses for not getting more physically intimate with him. I used any and every reason I could think of not to go further. Meanwhile, I began spending time with my ex again in secret. Not only is she wasting this new guy's time and possibly risking him getting it, she's also cheating with him, with her ex. The woman who claimed she had long, monogamous relationships just used the STD excuse to cheat on him. I couldn't sleep, or eat, or stop crying. I developed a facial tic from the stress of hiding my condition and the fact that I was dating two people who didn't know about each other. I couldn't stop seeing my former boyfriend. He was the only one who knew the truth and he still treated me normally. I became addicted to spending time with him. It allowed me to forget everything for a while. Only modern women can use an excuse like catching an STD to cheat. This is why men should not date or court modern women, because modern women have no problem wasting men's time and resources. Go Dutch on everything and see if she's still interested in the real you and not the benefits of dating. If a woman mentions an ex without the topic of past relationships being brought up, she's definitely still hung up on the ex and will cheat with him if she got the chance. It's like a Freudian slip. The unconscious mind brings up something she truly desires. I'm not proud of the way I behaved during this time period. I hurt a very decent man who eventually found me out and stopped seeing me. We weren't officially a couple, but I knew that it would hurt him if he learned that I was dating another guy behind his back. I didn't exactly lie to him about my HPV, but I definitely omitted the truth. So, either she strung along a beta male or she's lying about the relationship part to make herself not look like a cheater. Men wouldn't get upset if a casual fling was seeing someone else. But because she didn't have sex with the new guy, she probably acted innocent and used him to validate her by taking her on dates, thinking she was a good girl who didn't put out until she got serious. Another lesson here is that if a modern woman has just gotten out of a relationship and wants to take things slow or not rush into anything, she's using you as an emotional tampon or as a rebound to build herself back up for Chads or her ex. I do believe that if there was not such a heavy stigma around STIs and the idea of having HPV, especially genital warts, I would have had an easier time coming clean and telling everyone the truth. So it's society's fault for scaring people about STDs that she didn't tell the truth. Unbelievable. With her logic, maybe society shouldn't have a heavy stigma about radiation and not warn people about Chernobyl or atomic sites so they can move in a radioactive area and die slow, painful deaths. I could have avoided so much pain, stress, and shame. I didn't want anyone to know. If we took the embarrassment out of the conversation so that everyone who struggles with HPV or any other STI could feel okay about it, the world would be a happier place. We must spread facts and eliminate the harmful myths that shroud sexual infections in shame and secrecy. In conclusion, this basically is an article of her trying to cope with the fact that she can't sleep around anymore without a care in the world. The whole stigma part is her wanting men to lower their standards, to appease her and her loose lifestyle. Getting painful outbreaks on the genitals doesn't make the world a happier place. The world is a happier place now that she can't freely spread her legs and contribute to the hookup culture. There are plenty of men who she probably rejected for being too short or not successful enough, that are laughing their ass off because they dodged a bullet, and many more who have dealt with the same type of woman. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.